Final exam review, question number 13. A new beta blocker medication is being tested to treat high blood pressure. Subjects with high blood pressure volunteered to take part in the experiment. 130 subjects were randomly assigned to receive a placebo. So in this case, what do we have here? I'm gonna say N2 is equal to, this is placebo and this is control. So N2 is 130. And 110 received the medicine or the medication. So N1 is equal to 110. High blood pressure disappeared in 83 of the controls. So in this case, X1 is equal to 83. And in 63 of the treatment group, wait a minute here, the control group and the treatment group. So placebo is the control group and this is the treatment group. That's a T, treatment group. So X2 is actually 83 and then X1 is, that is the treatment group, 63. So 63 patients from the treatment group recovered from high blood pressure. Test the claim that the new beta blocker medicine is effective at a significance level of 0.05. So it is effective, the medication is effective if the proportion of treatment group is greater than the proportion of placebo group. So we're going to say, in this case, the null hypothesis states that P1, the proportion of treatment group, is the same as the proportion of placebo group. And then HA, or the null hypothesis, states that the proportion of treatment group is greater than the proportion of the placebo group. And that's why I named this N2X2 and this is N1X1. In this question, it's not clear which group it is, but based on my experience, I see the answer to be like that, and I assigned the treatment group to be population number 1, and for the placebo group or the control group that received the placebo is the population number 2. So that is how I assigned them. So let's go ahead first and put these options there. So we have P1 is the same as P2, that is the null, which is a statement of equality. P2 is here, and then we assume that, or we are testing if the treatment is effective. So P1 is greater than P2. That is the proportion of the patients in the treatment group who have their blood pressure disappeared is greater than the proportion in the placebo or the control group. This is hypothesis testing for two proportions, or a z-test for the difference of two proportions, because we're saying the difference is because we can rewrite these null and alternative hypotheses as follows. We can say this one, we can write it as the null hypothesis states that P1 minus P2 is equal to 0. That means the difference, there is no difference. And then the alternative hypothesis, we can say P1 minus P2 is greater than 0, which means the first proportion is bigger than the second proportion. So it is hypothesis testing for difference of proportions. I'm going to go to the calculator and then I will choose difference of proportions, or z-test or z-estimate, and I'm using the number of successes in this case because we have X1 and we have X2. So we said here that X1 is 63 and N1 is 110, X2 is 83, and N1 is 130. And we need to test at a significance level of 5%, so 0.05, and it is a right tail test. Now, what we need here to answer the question, we need the test statistic. So I'm going to copy the test statistic over. And we need the p-value, not the critical, I need the p-value. So based on the the critical value and the test statistic, I can tell that the p-value is not less than alpha, which means the critical value is not in the critical region. And the correct decision is to fail to reject the null hypothesis. And the correct summary would be there isn't enough evidence to support the claim that the new beta blocker medicine is effective at a significance level of 5%. P-values here, let me just double check the test statistic and p-values and see what's going on. So I see here that I had the test statistic wrong and the p-value wrong, but after a careful review I figured out the code of the question was wrong, so I fixed it, and hopefully now it will function correctly. So since I didn't change anything here, I don't expect this to change, but if you try a similar question, then your answers should be correct. So don't worry about these being wrong in the video. When you try them in your own review, hopefully the answer is going to be better and it's going to be correct because I fixed the code already.